The Bike Library is a free bike sharing service here in Fort Collins. It is just like a library. Instead of library books on shelves, we've got bikes on racks.
About 15 years ago, the city introduced its first bike sharing program for the community, which later became the inspiration for the current bike library.
The inspiration for the Fort Collins Bike Library was born from a couple of college students at CSU. And they had a dream, a vision to make available bicycles to members of the community. Give them an opportunity to get on a bike and get out of their car. We were a hit from the beginning. Who doesn't like a free bike?
So we had elements from the Bicycle Co-op helping us with repurposed parts. We had New Belgium Brewery donating a few bikes. We had the Bike Fort Collins, the city of Fort Collins. Everyone was getting together to talk about how we can make this happen.
It was an honor to be able to help them just a little bit in the beginning. And so to see that thing go from this just kind of raw, almost punk rock movement into what it is now, it's super gratifying, and we definitely hope it can continue.
I think the Fort Collins Bike Library is a hub for the downtown area. I think many people come to the bike library, grab some bikes, and they're visiting local businesses, they're visiting the breweries, they're bringing money to the downtown area, as well as friendly smiles.
Having the bike library downtown and a bike sharing program is great for the community. I think it enables people to come down and find a way to get around town without having to have a vehicle.
Many of our users are visitors to Fort Collins, so we set the example of what kind of community we are and what a good cycling community looks like.
Bike culture in Fort Collins has been growing steadily and maybe even on a big uptick lately. People are starting to realize that you can get around this town better on a bike than you can in a car.
We are really fortunate that we're operating currently under a federal CMAQ grant.
CMAQ grant stands for Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality. It's a federal grant, so every month I have to put together a status report which includes how many miles our customers have ridden, and from those numbers then we calculate approximately how many pounds of CO2 have been mitigated going into the atmosphere.
The needs of the bike library today include primarily be able to maintain the fleet. We're at a point with our fleet right now where we have bikes that are more often in maintenance than they are being ridden by customers. We are always sold out of bikes.
The biggest issue we have with our bikes at this time is maintenance. You know how people treat rental cars. Well, imagine that on a bicycle, it's a little worse. So the bikes, they go out in fair good shape, and sometimes they come back beat up bad.
Many, many miles have been put on these bikes, and for us it's very important to provide a new and fresh set of wheels for people coming to Fort Collins.
We want to make it sustainable whether we have a CMAQ grant or any kind of grant from the city.
The bike library needs to be supported. I believe the bike library is one of our strongest amenities.
It's a pretty valuable service to have somebody providing free bikes for people that come from out of town, or people that are in town and have lost use of their bicycle, or just wanting to give bicycles a try and haven't had the opportunity.
It adds cachet to our town. It makes us a more livable city. People who visit here, they have that experience on a bike for the first time, and they kind of fall in love with that, and so I think it's a huge asset to the community.
The second week that we were open, this homeless man came in, and we just happened to have a bike that was returned. And he asked if he could borrow the bike because he had a job interview on the south end of town and he didn't have any way to get there. We lent him the bike and he went to his interview and he got the job. That makes me feel good. It made all of us really feel good because, you know, at that point you realize that you are doing something good for the community.
At this point, we can't continue to operate under our existing model. We've been primarily funded by a federal grant, and that expires at the end of 2012. In order to keep the dream alive, we need your help to transition to a more independent and sustainable program. We need money for critical fleet repairs, replacement of bikes, storage, and just improving the overall customer experience. So whether you've got a great idea, you'd like to volunteer, make a donation, or just tell us your story, we'd love to hear from you. Ride on, my friends.